We talk about a historic verdict on a charge rarely brought to trial in the U.S. The leader of the Oath Keepers, Stewart Rhodes, has been found guilty by a Washington, D.C. jury of seditious conspiracy for his role in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Rhodes was also one of the 5 Oath Keeper defendants to be convicted of obstructing an official proceeding, which on its own could carry a 20-year prison sentence. Prosecutors argue that Rhodes stood outside the Capitol on January 6th, acting like a general as his followers breached the building. So joining us now, Tasha Adams. She is Stewart Rhodes' ex-wife, who helped him start the Oath Keepers more than a decade ago. She has since left the group and has condemned Rhodes and the Oath Keepers for their involvement on January 6th. This is her first interview, by the way, her first TV interview, I should say, since the verdict. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you joining us this morning. How are you doing, Tasha?
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Amazing. The best I've done in a long time.
What's your reaction to your ex-husband being convicted on these charges, especially the historic one of seditious conspiracy?
Well, that was the big one. That's the one I was really worried about. I was so relieved. I don't even know how to put into words the difference between the way the world feels now and the way the world felt to me before yesterday at 3 p.m. my time, except to describe it as like being in a really noisy room for days, weeks, months on end, and then it's just suddenly quiet. It's like the absence of fear. It's the best way I can put it.
Why were you so skeptical that they would even find him guilty? Because I know that you have said that he has never faced any consequences for his actions his entire life.
Yeah, he has been able to get away with everything. I mean, I wasn't even able to get a restraining order against him, and I mean, just simple things. He was given 50% custody, which had he been acquitted, he could have showed up here in Montana and just taken my kids, and it seemed to me, he seemed all powerful, that there was nothing I could ever do. Even when we finally did get out, I mean, the police told me to go home to him, sent me back home to my husband. It seemed impossible that he could lose. And though I saw the evidence against him, I knew logically it was a pretty good case, but emotionally, he just seemed unbeatable. But that's not the case.
And Tasha, I know the two of you have 6 children together. When you talk about your concerns about what that would look like, one thing that you said that stood out to me after the verdict came down is that you were concerned he might try to seek a pardon if Trump is reelected.
I mean, that's the shadow over all of this. I know that that's what he's mentally doing right now, as he is regrouping. And I'm not even sure it would have to be Trump. I think maybe a potential DeSantis presidency. There's still the potential for pardon there. I mean, I know it's slight. I know that Trump could have pardoned him before, and he didn't. So, but there's that slight shadow. I know that is what Stewart's doing right now. He's already on the next step.
You know the power that he has over others, right? The power to persuade, the power to inspire, the power to compel. Do you believe that this conviction on such a charge that is such a high bar to reach conviction on will deter some of those followers?
I think some. My fear is that these criminal charges, it's hard to imagine, but they don't really hurt him on the extreme right. And it's one of the reasons I feel sometimes compelled to just talk about the more personal side of him, the abuse, the misusing of funds of Oath Keepers. It doesn't get talked about a lot because a lot of people look at it like, well, he misused funds, but it's extremist money, so what? But it does hurt him on the right, and that does keep him from potentially rising again in an appeal scenario or a pardon in those cases. So I think that's one of the reasons I feel like I need to talk about the more personal side of him and all the damage he's caused to everyone, not just criminally.
Tasha, do you feel safe? That's what I should have asked you, because you talked about your kids and do you feel safe now?
I do. I mean, of course, there's some concern with some of his followers. I do get messages. I did get some last night. I've dishonored my husband. This is all my fault. Well, I'm pretty used to everything being my fault, so that didn't faze me too much. The FBI has been great. They check in on me. ask me, double check, is there anything you're not, have you been getting bad messages? Good. And it's really the first time I've been able to breathe easy in years, maybe decades, to tell you the truth.
Wow. Tasha, thank you. We're glad that you're safe. And thank you so much for appearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.